and welcome back to Kicking It with Kids. And today we have a very special guest and a really cool topic. We're doing college tips and tricks. I'm Anika Kapil, and I go to Nice High School.
I'm Shivansh Thakur. I go to Bartram Trail High School.
I'm Chris Raylan, and I go to the Bowl School.
I'm Anika Ravel, and I go to Stanton High School.
And I'm Simran Dubey, and I go to Atlantic Coast High School. And our guest's name is Sam Sharma. Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Sam. I also went to Stanton College Prep for high school, and then now I go to Penn. I study finance and health and societies, and I'm excited to be here. Happy to answer any questions.
Cool. So to start off, let's go ahead and just talk about the college application process as in general. So, how did you kind of decide what college to go to and how many colleges to apply to? Because there seems like there's so many.
Right. So I would definitely say, well, I know it's different now because of COVID, and there's lots of online tours. Is sort of what I'm hearing. Go to as many as you can. They're boring for the most part, but you really get a feel of the admissions counselors. And I will say the admissions counselors do a good job of, sort of portraying the vibe of the school. And I think people sort of underemphasize how important the vibe is, but honestly, it's very important. Through high school, I wanted to go to Johns Hopkins. I thought that was like the dream school for me, but I toured it, and the vibe was sort of just not me. It was too focused on academics and research. And that's just not something I wanted to fully concentrate on in college. And so when I toured Penn, it was more of activities focused, and lots of clubs came to talk to us during sort of the tour. And that sort of sold me on Penn. So definitely go to as many tours as you can, and sort of try to get the best experience you can from talking to the counselors. In terms of how many to apply, I did it really wrongly, pretty much. I was going to apply to 20, and I don't recommend it. And I think if I hadn't gotten an early decision, I would have really screwed myself over those holidays. I would say aim for around 10. You want to have 2 to 3 reach schools, 2 to 3 target, or 3 to 4 target schools, and another 2 to 3 safety schools. Just makes it simpler, and all colleges pretty much ask you why us and why do you want to come here. When you apply to 20, as I would have done, it would have been the same essay over and over again, just with a different name. And they see right through that. So try to sort of not do that, and make sure each college you apply to, you actually would go there if you got in.
So how exactly did you choose your major? Was it something you settled on when you were younger, or were you undecided going into college?
Right. So I'm obviously brought up around healthcare, so I've always been interested in it, but not sort of what I've set on. I really didn't want to do it. I would say a lot of people think the gen ed requirements suck and they're boring, which they are. It is true, they're really boring and sort of a waste of time, but you do get to experience every sort of major in the college if you do them right. Often a lot of classes can count for the same requirement, so try to make sure you take classes that you're somewhat interested in. I know for one class I took astronomy 101 for all my requirements, and after that I knew I didn't want to be an astronomy major. But also I got to experience it and sort of learn about stuff that I wouldn't have normally learned about. So stuff like that. I've taken Bio 101 for my classes. So just taking different disciplines and seeing what you like and what professors you vibe with. I think professors also make an impact on the major you choose. Office hours, it seems daunting at first, but they're real people too. And, after you go meet them a couple times, they become sort of like your mentors and friends, which is really special and important to have.
And speaking of majors, what's the kind of best time to decide your major? Because I know a lot of people say it's okay to go in undecided, but for me, that seems pretty daunting to kind of not know what you want to do. So when is the right or good average time to kind of know what you want to do?
Right. So you definitely don't have to know when you're applying to college. I would say make sure you know what you're broadly interested in. Let's say for some people it may be English. And so But then you should have an idea of what programs across the country offer good English institutions and that sort of stuff. If you want to do healthcare, or if you do want to major in pre-med, there's only a handful of schools that, sort of let you major in pre-med. So look into that kind of stuff. Make sure you know that where you're applying to can help you fulfill your broad interest that you want to study. In terms of in college deciding, I decided rather quickly. I decided at the end of my first year, but I have friends who decided after the sophomore year ended because college forced them to decide, and they still weren't really sure. So it just doesn't really matter. Just, I would say, enjoy your classes the first 2 years. Make sure you take a variety of classes and see what you best vibe with.
A question I had was like, after going to college, what are some of like the biggest changes you noticed from high school to college, just like that dynamic or like everyday life and classes?
Yeah, so I think we can all agree that high school is super structured. You wake up at God knows how early, like 5:45, 6:15 in the morning, get a cold shower in and eat breakfast on your way to the bus stop or whatever. College is very much not like that. I probably wake up at 9:30 every day if I'm lucky, usually like noon. And classes are very unstructured, like you make your own schedule, which is good and bad for some reasons. I know my first year into college, it was bad. I wasn't really sure how to do it. And I was like staying up really late at night, even though I didn't need to because I was taking only 5 classes at a time. But I think as you do more college and you take more classes and you experience more college life and you meet friends who are doing a better job than you handling their stuff, you like pick up tips and tricks along the way, and waking up early, just making your schedule around the work that you have, as opposed to doing nothing all day and then coming home and cramming all your work at night.
Continuing on college application, so what are the pros and cons of in-state and versus out-of-state colleges?
Right. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is the expense. We all know in-state is a lot cheaper than out-of-state, or I would say in-state and public schools are a lot cheaper than out-of-state private schools. I think either one is fine. Just depends on how hard you want to push yourself. I will say I'm biased because I did go out of state, but I think I've had experiences of meeting new people. Like I went to school sort of cold turkey. I didn't know anybody on campus, and so going through the process of meeting completely new people from scratch, making those relationships from scratch, was sort of really beneficial. It's made me sort of more of a talkative, outgoing person than I was in high school. And going in state, you would normally already have a group of friends of some sort going into that school, which would sort of ease in that transition. So there's definitely pros and cons to both. I think what's more important is that you may think out of school college is more for you than an in-state school. I know for some kids, UCF might want a really large school, and so in that case, UCF is the largest school in the country. There's no reason to push away in-state only because it's in-state, right? If it fits you, it fits you. The same way, there's no reason to chase out of state only because it's out of state and you want to tell people you go out of state for school. The school might not fit you, and I think the fit is so much more important than where the school is located. Because very bluntly, in-state for you is very clearly out of state for somebody else.
So you touched on this earlier when you were talking about like how many colleges to apply to, but how do you kind of like stay on a good timeline when applying? Because I know a lot of people are saying to start applying for me this summer, like the end of my junior year. What's kind of a good way to stay on track? Because even 10 schools kind of seems like a lot to apply to given all the different essays and things you have to write.
Right. So the way I recommend doing this is that the Common App essays haven't changed in the last million years. They just don't change them ever. And worst case, if you do write on sort of an old prompt, there's like a sixth option, which is like write on whatever you want to write about. I don't know. I guess none of you have seen the portal or whatever. That's sort of what it looks like. And I would recommend a lot of it's writing on stories that you've had or experiences that you've gone through. I would say the summer is a good time to start the summer after your junior year. You have a lot of time to just brainstorm. You don't have to necessarily write any essays that summer, but think about stories that have been monumental to you in sort of the last 3 years and in shaping you and have had a long lasting impact on you. And then after you get your 4 or 5 stories, either short stories, long stories, whatever, then you can start sort of framing the essays around those stories. A lot of kids tend to have the same stories. Like I played on a sports team, I won a championship, or I played and I got injured, so I went to therapy and worked my way back. And those stories are great. It's just portraying them the right way. So colleges can see you and not the other 10,000 students who wrote the exact same essay. But definitely I would start with stories that summer. And then refine those, make sure they do mean something to you, and then figure out the essays later on. Maybe you start writing in August time, or at least writing the main Common App essay around August time and going from there. And to add, get your friends to read your essays. No one knows you like your friends do. They probably know you more than you'd like them for them to know you. So get them to read it. They'll have good, mean, useful feedback.
What's like one experience in college that you like totally did not expect going into college, but like it's really weird and made an imprint?
Right. So this is my freshman year. Walking around campus, there's walking around a college campus, which none of you have done, but walking around, bear with me. Walking around campus, there's signs for everything: free pizza, free dance, whatever. And so there was a sign called Healthcare Startup Incubator, which is just like you come in with your ideas, and they pick the ideas they like, and they give you money to help build those ideas out. So I got a bunch of my freshman buddies to join with me, and we came up with a straw that helps patients swallow medication. And they ended up liking it, so they gave us $10,000 to start a company. This sort of experience is I think that like is the pinnacle of college, right? Like you would never get that. I think it's very unique to college that you are able to do what you're interested in and really pursue that, and get help from people around you who also want you to succeed. And so I would say the coolest thing is that I have a company that I sell stuff on Amazon, and I make money from it. And that's like the one experience that I'll always remember and always live with.
So obviously you do go to an Ivy League school, which is like part of the prestige of it is its name, the reputation it's built. What do you think like the benefits and the drawbacks kind of are of going to like an almost name brand school?
Yeah, so the benefit is that it's name brand, right? And that is well known. And a part of it is that you are going there because of the legacy that sort of the school itself has built for itself. When you go to job interviews and you say you went to Wharton, it sort of turns a light bulb on, and everyone knows what that school is and sort of what that school stands for. But that's not to say that a kid from FSCJ would not also get these opportunities. If you work hard anywhere, you get the same opportunities. I refuse to believe that Penn's the reason I'm getting the offers I get, or is the reason I don't get offers to some Harvard kid who gets it over me, right? I refuse to believe that. It's a lot on your individual hard work. The drawback is the money, right? Like very clearly, it's expensive. So it just depends on what you're willing to pay for. I will say the connections I get out of Penn will probably be better than any other school. And that's sort of what my family and I were okay paying for. And that's a conversation for you guys to have with your parents, and not for me to have with you.
So I think that we've kind of covered everything that we wanted to talk about. Does anyone else have any questions, or do you have anything that you want to say to us, just like in general?
Yeah, I want to say definitely take it easy. Like at the end of the day, like it's just college. It's only 4 years of your life. Let's say you live to 100 years old. That's only 4%, right? Like you're not going to make your life or sort of ruin your life by only 4% of your life. So don't worry about it too much. You'll make friends. You'll be happy anywhere you go. And it's not going to define your career. So definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your expertise, and super excited to kind of jump into this whole college experience and application process now. So we'll see everyone later. Make sure to like and subscribe and be on the lookout for more videos. Bye.
Perfect. Thank you for having me, guys. Bye.